are not. They remind you of. Well, yeah, most people. Yeah, obviously some people have been to prison, but no, I'm saying I guess in the unconscious, the whole.
I
I
think it's
guess.
just no.
Oh
It
yeah.
has to do with the light.
Oh, the
Like
light. Yeah.
kind of. All right.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Okay. Okay.
Maury
Yeah.
Epstein,
Yeah.
introduce yourself. Tell me a little
Okay.
bit about yourself. Who are you?
Okay. Okay. Well, basically, I am from geographical geographical. I'm from Cleveland, and Shaker Heights, which is kind of. Have you heard of Shaker Heights?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of famous for a few different a few different reasons, but yes, that's where I'm from, and I basically stayed. I after I finished high school, I went to New York, like the New York area. I was in New Jersey, New York, and then I moved into the city after undergrad. And I like took a year off. And then I went back to study. Went back to study again. It was pretty much all in music. And then I was like really like a jazz person, and then I was a jazz guitar person from the age of 16 on. Before that, I was a different type of music person for a couple of years before that, and then basically lived there for about 13 years. Then I moved here. Well, I came here to study in 2007. Moved here in 2009, and those are like that's my dating profile. No, I'm just kidding. That's yeah, that's a whole nother, yeah, dating profiles are a whole nother topic. But that'd be we could just do that as a 5 minutes. That'd be like at the end as a bonus. So.
You have a lovely quote on your
Okay.
website from
Okay,
Henry Wadsworth Longfellow. Music is the universal language of mankind, connecting hearts and souls beyond words.
Okay.
When you play
Yeah.
or when you sing, what happens to you, and what do you hope will happen to the listeners?
Okay, so I think I can approach it from a few different angles. I think, on the one hand, I try not to think, but on the one hand, I do have intentions. I think basically some of the type of things that I've been doing recently. We do these like retirement homes. I have one main musical partner in recent times, so we do retirement homes. So there, it's like. Basically there I try to have interaction with my musical partner. I try to be a little bit humorous with him because I feel like why not? you know. But in the music, in other words, in those particular settings, I walk around the room a little bit, and I sometimes I give the mic to people and this and that, and so that seems so okay. So, but in those like basically my musical partner, he played he played in a pretty successful wedding band, so he has that kind of like download. And then I think he was a little shy to do like these Yiddish oriented songs for him. I think it was kind of like the word is no, obviously going from a wedding band where you're like basically it's sort of like the energy level of a wedding band is sort of like a coke, like it's like a speed. It's like you're like on speed basically. So like that, on the one hand, then you go play for retirement homes and you don't necessarily want to have that same experience of being on speed or whatever. But where was I going with that? I just went in a couple direct. But I was trying to answer the question about about you mentioned
Sorry.
you mentioned that quote. So
Right.
yeah, I've had you mentioned a nice quote. Um, I think that okay. So we just take a breath because that's
Okay,
like
take
it's
a
a
breath.
long
Here,
it's a
what
long
I-
sentence.
okay.
That was a long sentence. Yeah.
Tell me a little bit
Yeah.
about what. So how often? Tell me about playing these retirement homes.
Retirement homes, yeah.
Tell me a story of
story,
something
okay,
that
okay,
happened,
okay.
and just one thing. You have a tendency to
To close your
eyes. Try not to.
Okay, that doesn't look good for video.
Right, for video,
Right,
for
right.
audio, it doesn't
Yeah,
matter. But
yeah, for
try
video,
not
okay.
to close your eyes.
Okay,
Try to just.
okay.
So tell me about the last retirement home that you played and something nice that happened.
Okay, we did Beit Tovei Ha'ir, and the Yiddish songs. So one of the things that I do when I sing some of the Yiddish songs, I improvise. I do think that the humorous side, you know, at the end of the show, one woman came up and she said music is therapy, right? Which is a nice thing to hear, because there's almost an, maybe that implies that she got a therapeutic, there was a therapeutic effect, you know. If she said to me, well, so let me just say that okay, about the improvising side. So when I sing my Yiddish Shemama, usually in part of the song, it talks about sitting in a chair. I don't know if it's kind of a famous song, right?
Yeah, I know the song, but I don't know the lyrics.
And the part of the song, it talks about as I sit here in the comfort of a something chair. So usually I'll improvise, and I'll, instead of saying like, whatever it is chair, I'll say I'm in the Beethoven your chair. So people, I think when you improvise like jazz music is all about improvising, right? So when you improvise, people, there's a feeling of, okay, this person is here, they're in the moment, they're like responding to their environment, and people seem to like that. I like that, to kind of make it whatever that is, if it's a combination of like improvisation and some level of humor, basically. So I think like in certain disciplines in music, obviously people, having if you play an instrument or you're a vocalist, your technical ability is something that people like to see, like virtuoso. People like to see high levels or good level. Like, in other words, you could talk about that as musicianship. That's one aspect that people, that gives something to people when they see an artistic, they see a technical, a good level of technical ability. So my background, I like invested years and years and years in the guitar stuff. So I developed like a very, very good level of technical competency in guitar playing. So in terms of musicality, like, I think singers, when you're any musician is conveying emotion. There's an emotional aspect, right? So, okay, so right, so basically, I think what happened throughout my career was like I transitioned into the jazz guitar. I don't know if you call that idiom or the jazz guitar world. I was having a really good time in that world. I was into people like Pat Martino, and I do have a little story about him. It's, if I could, well, it was, if it, I don't, there's at least, well, okay, let's just, yeah, very much into like Pat Martino, Pat Metheny, these guys, enjoying the jazz guitar world. And then basically that came to a certain halt for various reasons. It kind of came to a halt. Then I went to study music education to try to figure out sort of what am I going to do now if my jazz, for many reasons, the jazz guitar career just kind of, it burned itself out somehow. And I said, okay, so I'll go study music education. Then a couple of years into those studies in New York City, then my father said to me, oh, there's a job opening up in Cleveland at Fairmont Temple, come back. And then I started, I was playing and singing some of the songs that I used to do with my friend Brenda Fish in Cleveland when I was like 16. So they were like, oh, I came to the shul, played a couple of songs, again, something that I hadn't played since I was 16. And they hired me like within an hour. Let's just stick with that idea. They hired me within an hour. So that was nice. It's been a little,
as a cantor. Yeah. As a cantor?
No, kind of like my title, my official title was, I think it was like community song leader or something like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Oh, it was a reform.
Yeah, reform place. Yeah, and I actually grew up about 3 minutes from there at Temple Emmanuel, which was also reform. And then like when I was in New York, I got more into like Orthodox Judaism, New York City, and then like basically my musical partner, I started to teach him some songs from like some of the songs I grew up with, like from Craig Taubman, and he actually recorded one of the songs. He did his own took the song and built like a little bridge to the song Anim Zmirot. So we do perform that together sometimes. It's kind of like, sort of like this thing where you say like 2 words in Hebrew and then a couple. It's like it goes between like 2 Hebrew words and a couple English words, and it goes back. This song also kind of has you can do it kind of in a round as well. And I think we sent a message to Craig Taubman and said, like, is it okay if we? And I think he responded or something. He was like, I'm sure. Oh, sorry. Yeah, there was a little sugar on it.
Because of noise.
For some reason, my mind was like,
Yeah,
wipe off the sugar. Granules.
Wait, so tell me a little more about
yeah,
about this job in Cleveland.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
what were you trying to do? How did it go? In other words, trying to get people to sing, teaching songs.
Well, so what I would do is, like, basically they would take me on Shabbatones sometimes to little, like, Camp Wise and places like that, and I would lead, like, Kabbalat Shabbat with my guitar, and then during the week when I was at the shul, I would come in and lead sort of like for the what they could, like the high school religious. I would come in and kind of lead Arvit with the rabbi, and I would sing a little bit and play. So it was kind of like, yeah. And at the same time, I did a high holidays thing at the shul next door, which was called, it's like a very famous place in Cleveland that they used to call it Silver's Temple. It was downtown, and then it moved to Beechwood, and they call it Tiferet, the Temple Tiferet Israel. And now it's called, like, they just recently changed the name to, like, Mishkan Shalom or something. And they closed Fairmont Temple, and they took most of the rabbis and they kind of merged it together as one, like, project. So I was like a cantorial soloist there for the family high holiday service. So that was kind of a mixture of, like, a little bit of Nusach with, like, some, some reform melodies or whatever. That was in, I think that was in 2006, I believe.
I think the reform movement in general is much more aware of music and the power of music. Do you agree with that? I mean,
well,
at least in the States.
I would say yes and no, because I think obviously in the frummer worlds, I mean, you have all these well-known people, like music's like Shlomo Carlebach. You have all these Chabad Nigunim, you have Breslov Nigunim, and obviously you have a lot of singers, Hasidic singers who are well-known and so forth. So I think basically when it comes to, I think I'm still learning about, more about music in, Orthodox Jewish communities. But I would just say there's a different. One of my friends was like telling about, like, the center of gravity. So like when I go to Rabbi Machlis's house, I started singing the song from, like, Sam Glazer called Hillel's song, which is also one of those ones that kind of mixes Hebrew and English together. But I think it's maybe a little bit of a case by case basis. But I think I think there's a different center of gravity, or maybe it's just different. Maybe I would go more with the idea of differences as opposed to, like.
I think there's something when people sing together, something happens. Well, tell me a little, like, what happens when you get people to sing together?
Okay, what happens?
Yeah.
You get people to sing together. Okay, so, like, okay, that's a good question. What happens? Yeah, no, I was going to say the idea of people I was going to draw to, if a person asks you what happens when people meditate, that could be an interesting question. What happens when people meditate? They try to turn off. There's a certain goal in meditation, right? I mean, it has health benefits, right? As we said, music is also therapy. Anything that has the word therapy attached to it is saying that you're getting like a benefit, right? So people. I think what happens when people sing together. I don't know.
I think what happens is that something new is created.
Oh, something new. Okay.
That you have all these individuals. And yet, I mean, I think about, we talked earlier about Pardes or something like that.
Yeah.
When people sing together, it creates both a community.
Yeah. And
it creates something different.
Yeah.
And I guess I would ask you, like, do you see song as a type of prayer?
As a prayer, okay. Also, a very good question. It's funny if you look at people across, whatever the word is, history of the spectrum. Some people see many musicians. Were impactful because they were, like, their entertainment value. If I mention the name Louis Armstrong, one of the first thing people say was that guy was a great entertainer, you know. Now, there have been a few musicians who are like who were sainted, who like people opened houses of worship on their name, like John Coltrane or whatever. Maybe he's a rare case, but so music is music. Do I see music as okay? So basically, right. In other words, if you're merging together, so right, a lot of times when people meditate, they chant, right? So why do people either chant before they meditate, or why do they mix chanting and meditation together? Probably because it starts to move you into the space of meditate. Either it's moving you towards a meditative space, or that it's moving you in that direction, and in that I guess if you're trying to, I mean, maybe it sounds cliche to elevate prayer, right? Maybe that's an idea, right? So I think that the right. I think that a lot of the Karlbach stuff is trying to but perhaps it's trying to, again, to like well, let's just say the minion in Los Angeles to the Karlbach minion, they call it the happy minion, right? So why do they call it happy minion? Maybe because they're trying to say like these Karlbach melodies make us happy, right? So most people want people. Happiness is obviously a positive emotion. And I think if obviously sometimes music can open up, like, I mean, I guess in the emotional sphere, I mean, sometimes emotions can be trapped, right? So maybe if a person starts to cry or something, there was like something inside that was like is being released. And there's also a term that a lot of people, I remember I've talked to a lot of people in the communities, and I'm like, throughout the years, and I'm like, oh, do you like this Karlbach stuff? Do you like? And they're like, no, they're like, I'm not into ecstatic release. I'm like, oh, we're talking about that's an interesting term, ecstatic release. But I mean, I guess again in the term of release, I mean, I'm not a psychologist. I'm not but I think maybe the idea of releasing what's trapped. That sounds like a good thing, right? Nobody wants to be trapped. I mean, these therapies, they say talk to this emotion, so you want to. I mean, yeah, I guess releasing trapped emotion. In other words, right. So that's an interesting idea, right? So yeah.
So besides the retirement homes, what else are you doing here in Israel?
If you're praying and you feel a sense of boredom, that's not really a great way to pray, right? So you want to. So the idea of having some kind of excitement attached with prayer is usually, in other words, like, right. So sometimes for some people it's very hard. Meaning, there's different contexts within prayer, right? Like the whole idea of the synagogue or the church, people come and they pray together, and obviously if you leave shul and you're like, oh, that was like boring or that was like painful, obviously in a shul you want to feel like something meaningful happened, or you want to feel like you connected with God. You got out of yourself. So I think it's an interesting idea. Is this idea of like, what does it mean to like elevate prayer? It's sort of, okay, music can elevate prayer. That could be an accurate statement. Yeah.
I think in general, maybe in Orthodox synagogues in Israel, except for Kabbalat Shabbat, there's often not a lot of singing.
Right. And the places where they do sing, people are saying, well, why am I going to go to that meeting? It's going to take 3 hours. I don't want to sit in shul. Or other person says, I just, like, I'd sit in shul all day. Like, I wish every day was like, I could be like 6 hours and just like singing with people. I mean, like that's probably a rare person to have to be like a.
But I think there is this whole idea of what they call Karlbach minyan.
Yeah.
Karlbach minyan.
Right.
Where Friday nights, I think people do want that and want to sing. And I've been to some that are very beautiful. You know?
Yeah.
And the advantage of Carl Bach, I mean, we won't go into the
other
part, but I think, you know, his tunes are so if you say I'm going to a Carl Bach Kabbalat Shabbat, everyone knows what you're talking about, and everybody knows the tunes, and there's something very nice about that.
Right. If you said, I mean, people wouldn't know, but if you said I'm going to a Craig Taubman Shabbat or a Debbie Friedman Shabbat, like, some people would know. Some people would come. They'd say, "Oh, I love Craig Taubman's melody. I love it. I want to come to that Kabbalat Shabbat." Or some people would say, you know, whatever they would say. But yeah.
So, what else are you doing now in Israel besides the retirement communities?
Besides, but
are you also have a wedding band? Are you part of a wedding band? That's what your website.
Well, yeah. Usually, I meditate from like 6 to noon, and then I have I have 3 eggs at noon with either apple juice or orange juice. Then I go back and I meditate. That was kind of a joke. But besides okay. So we've been doing these like street fairs, like my musical part. We last year we did the street fair in Zichron Yaakov, and we're doing it on July 30th. And he usually tells us to bring a few. So we had a flute player, a female flute player last year. We're bringing a different flute player this year, and then we're God willing, we're going to be doing something in Renana. I think at the end of October as well. Another kind of like, you know, Yom Aliyah or something like that. And then we do like matnasim type of gigs. Like we're doing Piskat Zev Matnas also in October, and we do other all types of things. We play at the Blaze Bar sometimes just for like practice. We're supposed to be there again on July 25th. We were there like a week and a half ago. I've been working a little bit with my friend Sharia Witt. He's the chazan at the Beit Tarav Cook. I do like a little bit of a separate project with him. He's a Carl Bach performer. He writes his own music too. And from time to time, I was doing a little bit of teaching with some private students, and I popped into once in a while a school here for like some kind of like school of rock thing a month here and one school with that. So those are some of the things that I've been some other things, and I've been I went to this studio in Petach Tikva. Producer his name is Ran Aviv, so I kind of paid him to write 2 songs for me, and I recorded. They're kind of like huppah type songs, and he's very he's quite very good at what he does, and that I did a few weeks ago. So that was just like a little rendezvous to try something different, and
So do you sing at weddings?
We did. We basically we've done several weddings. We did one in the Gush Etzion area, and one that was here local. So we've done other bar mitzvahs, wedding. That's part of the whatever it is, part of it or whatever it is. Yeah.
And so, do you think that your background is in jazz, as you said?
Right. Although I didn't add that in my teen years I was very, like a blues, like I really took something to blues, and I was like really enjoying like playing blues in my teen years and playing rock like Rush, Led Zeppelin, like in my teen years before I kind of dropped it and went into the jazz world, whatever. Yeah.
Do you think that jazz or blues influences your music today?
Jazz or blues? Well, what we do is we usually do about 3 sort of, you could call it like the Great American Songbook. We usually do New York, Fly Me to the Moon and Autumn Leaves. So that's sort of like our jazz, our 3 jazz, our 3 jazz medley, 3-song jazz medley, or jazz-ish. Let's call it crooner or whatever that genre is. So yeah, I mean, that's that's one answer to the question. That's one. I mean, that's yeah. But maybe there could be other answers. That's just other influences or other yeah.
And you're doing a concert in November, right? Tell me about that.
Well, okay. So as I said, we have the Blaze. Sorry, we have the Blaze in the Zichron Yaakov in July, and we have a couple of things in October and November. I don't think we really have anything nailed. We had a possibility of something for November. I'm not sure if it's actually going to happen. But yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. That was a potential. It still might happen. I just don't want to.
Right.
I haven't had enough confirmation to kind of.
I saw on Facebook, actually, just before I came, that Mati Kaspi is going to be at the Sultan's Pool at the end of August. And he, Well,
that's, I hate to interrupt you,
yes.
He's dead, so he's not going to be there. No, he's dead, yeah.
So who am I thinking of? Shlomo...
Artsy?
Yes.
Okay,
sorry.
okay. Unless he's coming back to life. But,
yes. No, so that Shlomo Artsy is going to be at... I saw just before I came that Shlomo Artsy is going to be in the Sultan's Pool.
Oh, beautiful.
That with thousands of tickets, right?
Oh,
yeah. So it's amazing to me that, these... well, I guess it's kind of like... I have a friend in the States, for example, who goes to every Bruce Springsteen concert. He goes around the world following...
Yeah.
Do you think we have that in Israel or not so much?
Like an Israeli version of Bruce?
Yeah. Or just,
people always talk about that Meir Ariel was like the Israeli Bob Dylan. I didn't really know Meir Ariel. I don't know when he died necessarily, but do we have? I honestly I don't know who would be the equivalent. I mean, because I don't know who would be the equivalent of Bruce.
Or not the equivalent of Bruce, but this idea, like, let me ask it in a better way. Yeah. How are concerts in Israel different than
different
concerts
than
in America?
Well, I've been to the Sultan's Pool a few times, the Sultan Pool concert. I saw, Here I'm Going there, and I saw Idan Reichel there, and I think I might have been there one other time. But, yeah. But I've been with my friends. I've been to at least once or twice outside of Jerusalem. Just an Avraham Fried show, and but in terms of how they're different. Well, I saw Bob Dylan in Tel Aviv and Madonna in Tel Aviv, and. It's funny because I was thinking of that. The Pat Martino story. I mean, you're not a jazz aficionado. Yeah, you're not a jazz. But I was in the Blue Note, like sitting in a jam, and I'm pretty sure, unless I dreamt it, he came up to me afterwards, which was. But yeah, the way I got the Madonna tickets, I got this little fight with this guy at the gym, and then we were trying to make up, and he gave me the Madonna tickets.
That's not in Tel Aviv.
Yeah. But I never realized that she does all that stuff with the black robes and the Christian imagery, so which is interesting. It's like kind of, I guess it is.
She's a terrific performer. Like whatever you think of her,
Yeah.
She's a really good performer, and
yeah.
I think one of the things that I think about Israeli concerts, and I came here like in my 20s, so I didn't really have.
Now you're in your 40s now, or 50s.
But that doesn't matter. But I'm saying I hadn't really been to many concerts in America. It wasn't part of my... I mean, I always enjoy music, but it wasn't part of my... But here, somehow, what's fun is, first of all, the entire audience knows all of the lyrics.
Yeah, that it's more...
And they all sing along. And it's really less... To me, I think it's less of a concert and more of what they call... There's actually a thing called Erev Shira, an evening of song.
Yeah. Well, and my partner, like half of his careers, he leads Shira B'Tzibor.
Oh, really?
Like, around Tel Aviv, and that's like half of his like career basically. He's like a Shira B'Tzibor pianist leader or whatever. That's like half. Yeah.
And it's fun. I was invited once to a birthday party, and they did. They didn't have a professional musician, but they had slides with the words.
Okay.
And everybody sang, and I don't know. It was such a lovely. There was something very innocent about it, and you don't need alcohol, and you don't need really loud music. Like when I go to a wedding today, I can't stand it, to be quite honest.
Because it's
so
loud. It's too
loud.
Yeah.
And you can't talk to anyone. And I love to dance, and I love music, and but I somehow feel we kind of that somehow when I think of a Erev Shira, I think of like. The 1950s and 60s when Israel was like a little more innocent and
things.
And I think it's something that's uniquely Israeli. Like I don't think people don't get together in America. Maybe musicians do.
Right.
But people who aren't musicians just get together to sing because it's fun. I don't know. Maybe you.
Well, right. It's interesting because the karaoke, like.
That's true.
What I was gonna say is interesting about karaoke is that like it came somewhere from Asia, and like I remember when I was younger, and I remember like in Cleveland that they have like these Asian restaurants, and like their nighttime activity would be like to do karaoke, and I was like I never heard of like my friend David Kalimnik used to have a little bar that was like half. It was like half comedy and half karaoke. It was like a 2 activity thing. But I was almost gonna say like the Erev Shira B'Tzibur is almost like taking. It's almost like the evolution. I was gonna say one end like the evolution of karaoke, but the two. Yeah, meaning like Erev Shira is basically more interesting. Although karaoke can be a really nice thing for friends to do together, it can be, but yeah, I hear what you're saying, because with karaoke there's a lot of an association of like bars and drinking and stuff, and people just, I mean, in a positive sense, people just having a good time, but like whereas Erev Shira is kind of coming closer to like something maybe more spiritual type of thing. I mean,
I think so, and more. I don't know, Israeli kind of. I've been to a few, and sometimes they do them at like places like, the Ammunition Hill. And there's something about being outside, and and you can go with one. You can go with one person. You could go alone. You could go with a group. And yet something happens. What do you think of the whole kululam phenomenon?
Well, by the way, in town here, in town there, I should say, they have a something called the Machterot, which is, they also do like on Tisha B'Av. It's like a courtyard in the city center. I think it's It's funny. I was thinking about on one hand, there's the Italian. Anyway, they have what's called the Machterot, and they do sometimes Shira B'Tzibur there, and like I said, they have a really nice large group learning for in Hebrew for whatever. No, it's Shavuot. Sorry, maybe both. I don't know.
Right.
But yeah, so that particular thing you mentioned, I haven't really been involved in it, but I've seen like I was checking out a lot of it seemed to be very. I don't know if it's an ongoing thing, but when I looked at the stuff online, I saw there's like a lot of people there, and like it seemed to be people were really. Few people said to me, "Oh, you should kind of try to look into that." I just a lot at this point, all I've really done is seen like the YouTube videos. I haven't, but
for Kululam, you mean, or for
for Kululam, yeah.
Cool. Yeah. I've done it a couple of times.
Okay.
It's really fun.
It's really fun. Okay.
So first of all, the people who do it have tremendous energy. Like the people leading it.
Yeah.
And this idea of you are, and they divide you into parts. And people are singing in harmony.
Yeah.
And it doesn't matter if you have a good voice or you don't have a good voice, because there's so many people singing.
Yeah.
And then they make a video of it. So then it's also kind of fun, like to see, are you in the video? But you're talking it can be thousands of people sometimes.
Thousands, wow.
It's amazing. Wow. I would, I think you would enjoy it.
So it's on, right? You're saying in other words, it's ongoing. You can look.
Well, there's different
the
ones all over, right?
Yeah,
and they have them all over.
Yeah.
And sometimes they also have them like for a good cause. Like
they have like a charitable,
there's an organization called Shekel, which helps adults with disabilities. And
beautiful.
That my husband, actually my youngest son, we were talking earlier about board games.
Board games,
so each of my kids did a bar mitzvah project, and my youngest is a board gamer. And he and my husband together did a group in English for young adults with communications issues.
Yeah.
And they played Dungeons and Dragons.
Okay.
And it was supposed to be a 1-year project, and they did it for 4 years. It was so successful.
Wow.
And they actually at some point tried to hire my husband. He said, "No, this is a volunteer thing that I do with my son." But it gave
to hire him as kind of a facilitator.
Yeah, but he said no, and they did it. It went on for years. I mean, it was amazing actually in terms of. And I think that we're talking about music. I think that music is a type of communication, right?
Yes.
Tell me how do you see music? I'm trying to get you to be a little more. How you see music, because what I think we're not yet getting here. We haven't gotten a real sense of what the way that you approach music is really unique. I'm trying, but we're not getting there.
We haven't quite.
Okay, so
cross that.
So tell me how is music as communication? How do you see it? How is it different from speech?
Speech, okay. So, it's funny. I was thinking about all these guys who are like, blind. I was thinking about. It brought to my mind I was thinking about Stevie Wonder specifically. We do a bunch of, the whole thing with like the schlock rock thing where the.
Well, why don't you talk about schlock rock?
Okay.
Tell me, what is schlock rock? I think a lot of people don't know.
What is schlock rock? So the thing is, I guess what I want. Okay, I'll just say this: that when I met the guy I work with, his name is Mordecai Fisher, and when I first met him, he had this idea. He was like, okay, I want to take Stevie Wonder's like Part-Time Lover song, and I want to put in a Don't Alum into it, you know. And so, okay, so we actually did a little video where we actually hired somebody from this neighborhood, and so that's kind of been, so it was kind of a fun little thing to do. But I think that it was like something that Lenny Solomon kind of created. I mean, I think in the secular genre, like Weird Al is like he's like this the non-Jewish version of Lenny Solomon. Although he does really, I mean, he's like I guess more of a slapstick.
It's very funny.
Yeah, Weird Al. But I think it's interesting because a lot of these chuppah singers and kind of like a lot of wedding singers, or like I believe it's called, I think they do a lot more of the chuppahs, you know, the whatever I guess in English would be called the canopy or whatever. So what a lot of people have done, there's like a whole genre of guys who, like Gossi Azulai and this one guy in LA, there's like a whole genre of taking like O Sole Mio and taking like Evita and all these like really beautiful balladish type of song, and you know, using them with like you know, basically with Eshet Chayil and with you know, Boi V'Shalom and with you know, Sheva Brachot and so forth. So I kind of was like, okay, so I kind of was attracted a little bit to that, which is that's not really, it's not rock, first of all, and it's not, I don't know if the word, using the word schlock, I wonder if the word schlock, that something comes from like painting or something. There's something called schlock or something, or schlock is,
I thought schlock is Yiddish, like something not so,
yeah, something that's kind of not so,
like
whatever,
cheaper or
yeah,
something,
so you're
know,
cheapening,
right.
what are you doing, you're taking the
Right.
Beatles and you're taking Lachadoti and
Right.
cheapening it, you know. But no, but so I think like basically what I was gonna say is that yeah, I mean, in other words, if a person listens to like someone, you know, doing Od Yeshama to Osole Mio, and they're like, oh, I connect with that. I mean, obviously it could be a very nice type of thing, right? So I don't know if that, you know, if that connects anything to back to communication, but speech versus communication, but you know, it's like, okay, so people like those songs when they're walking down the aisle because they're very like, you know, they're very like grand or something, or you're trying to invite the feeling of grandeur, or of maybe there's like expansiveness, or maybe it's like you know, brings out, you know, we talked about before, sort of positive. The awe, awe is like a very nice word, a very nice word. But so yeah, so again, I think like the Stevie Wonder songs we've been doing have been like we would do like Isn't She Lovely, You Are the Sunshine of My Life, and Part-Time Lover, and I you know, the one I kind of said, okay, Isn't She Lovely, that has something to do with like a woman or whatever, so let's put Eshet Chayil into that. So we kind of, but then I just sort of felt like, you know, like no, so you know, I didn't really grow up on Lenny. Some people grew up on Lenny Solomon. I guess it gives away my age, or the people that I know grew up on Lenny Solomon. But basically, what was I going to say? Basically, I grew up on, like, you know, Metallica and Led Zeppelin and Pink Floyd, but not Lenny Solomon. I didn't know who Lenny Solomon was. But basically, what was I going to say? Basically, my uncle was very much into my uncle Richard, who's like the one Baal Tshuva in my family. He grew up. He really was. He was like a real my one uncle is very into Bob Dylan. My other uncle is into like the Beatles, Elton John, and Billy Joel. And Mordecai, who I work with, he's very much into like, particularly he's really into Billy Joel. Like he does that whole thing with the what's that one song? Something about the shore of the Jersey Shore, the factory, or something like that. He's very into that those like obscure Billy Joel songs, or some of the obscure ones, you know. But yeah, I don't know if that has anything to do with well, a little bit
We were
about
talking about communication.
yeah. I suppose that, yeah, talking about the I guess, yeah, we was touching more on like the whole idea of the wedding, pre-wedding dancing, of the, you know, the communicating the emotional or whatever whatever the words are, communicating something. Yeah.
What was it like for you when you made Aliyah? Tell us about.
Oh,
when did
okay.
you come? So like.
Well, I came in the summer of 2009. Yeah. So basically, I went to Kibbutz Eliyahu, and I was gonna mention part of my past is I played one summer I played in an Irish band, and with these two, the two people who led the band were both Jewish, and it's Carl Ash and Linda Cavey. They have a band called the Empty Hats, and they basically do they're like sort of actor musicians, and they do Renaissance fairs like year round. That's like their full-time profession basically. So I jumped into their band. Oh, you know that guy Johnny? Do you know Johnny Knoxville? He saw the story. He was in these crazy movies like the I won't even say it, but the Jack and then the other word starts with an A. And this I think he was in Bad Grandpa. Anyway, he was there as like a sword swallower or whatever. So why did I bring that up? Oh, because I learned there was a few songs I was going through a period. I went to teach for a little bit in Staten Island, and it was like the kids were really really difficult kids there. And then like my friend Joe Dennis, he's a violinist. He actually one time he did something with Springsteen once. He sent me this gig. He's like, you're out there teaching and you're like miserable. You're pulling your hair out. Like, he's like, I got a gig for you. This band is like, this guy Carl is looking for a guitar player to go up to Sterling, New York. Like every weekend you get like $600 a weekend. And this violinist who came was a Brazilian guy who went to Berkeley or something. So I go up there every weekend. I told my friend Ben Bresky, they call me Mauricio. My name was Mauricio the Infidel, and that's like pretty much Ben. That's all pretty much every time Ben sees me, he calls me that. But so basically, I was like playing. I learned these like nice Irish songs. So then when I went to the kibbutz, I was teaching them a couple of the Irish, and people on the kibbutz seemed to get a kick out of it. They like the Irish songs. And then my friend Mordechai, I think he was born in Scotland, and he recently played a Nocturno. He had a couple original songs, and they did some stuff with Irish Scottish music or whatever. Like the band there they have like a Jerusalem Night, where I think on Mondays they do original music or something like that. But what was the question again?
I was asking you about your Aliyah.
Yeah. So that was the kibbutz.
Where did you work on the kibbutz?
Well, I was like, so I basically stuck I stuck pretty well in the kitchen. I tried to go out the kitchen, but I couldn't really stomach the fields and stuff, you know. Yeah. So I worked in the kitchen.
I'll tell you a funny story. You can use it, whatever. Use it.
Yeah.
So I volunteered on a kibbutz, and my Hebrew was pretty good, but not perfect. And first I was in the laundry, but it was a nighttime job, and I found out that my Hebrew stopped at midnight. After midnight, I simply couldn't speak Hebrew.
You didn't have the bandwidth.
And then one day they said to me, "At רוצה לשחק עם avanim," which means, stones. Do you want to play with rocks? But what I heard was, "At רוצה לשחק עם anavim." Instead of avanim, I heard anavim. And I thought I was going to go out and pick grapes, which is, the kibbutz ideal.
Which is cool.
And I said, Ken! And he kind of looked at me funny, like, okay. And he takes me out to this empty field, and there were giant rocks, and he said, start. And it was basically clearing a field of rocks. And I said, Aval ifo ha'anavim, where are the grapes? And that was the end of my short-lived kibbutz career. But I was not far from you. I was at Malay Gilboa.
Malay Gilboa, okay.
And I was actually thinking that I might want to live on a kibbutz. And in fact, when I met my husband, he was very interested in living on a kibbutz. And then I decided that it really was not for me. But the best thing is to have relatives who live on a kibbutz. So his brother actually makes beer called beer tzinut on a kibbutz near Eilat called Keturah.
A
young Judea. It's a very well-known young Judea kibbutz. And actually, one of the things at Keturah is they took date seeds that they found from Masada from 2,000 years ago, and they germinated, and the date palms grew.
Wow,
and the first one's called Methuselah, so 2,000 or 3,000-year-old date seeds. And now they have a whole grove of date trees, and I've actually tasted the dates, and they taste like honey. So when you talk about in the Bible about honey, it was probably date honey, not bee honey. When they talk about, Ben and Jerry's just came out with a new flavor, milk and honey, and it's really date honey. Anyway, if you ever get a chance, it's very cool to see the trees and to. So I was talking to you about your aliyah. So you came, you were on kibbutz for how long? Then what did you do?
Well, I was also going to mention that I had gone to an ashram, the Shivananda ashram, and my parents were trying to get me to Eilat Chaim, which was like nearby, Reb Zalman's place, and I was in Shivananda, and basically what happened there is obviously different than a kibbutz, right? I mean ashram, but maybe there is something in common. Like they're both. But what I was going to say was that they also do like there's different types of jobs on the ashrams and so forth too. But yeah, so I was there on the kibbutz, and then I moved to Jerusalem, and I was like basically, like I've spent like a lot of time in Nachlod because I guess I like the neighborhood, and basically I did like a couple Hebrew Olpans since I've been here, several, more than most, more than most, more than most.
How's your Hebrew now?
It's it's decent. It's decent, I would say. Yeah, and was I so yeah, I did several Olpanim. Yeah, okay, yeah, so the Olpans, and then basically yeah, how is it how has it evolved over time? How has my Aliyah evolved over time? What's involved evolved in various ways, but it's it's evolved in various ways. Yeah.
So you've been here now for 17
Yeah,
years.
I did actually leave one after my first 9 years. I left for about a year and a half. Spent like about a year and a half in Cleveland, and then I came back. So it was an interesting. And I did. I had a small. Recently, semi recently, I spent a little time in the Philippines. Just spent I'll say about 2 months, and I've actually met some really interesting people there, and couples by the shul, and a couple of couples they actually came back and like finished their conversions here. Nice young Filipino couple. I made some nice friends there. There's this one guy there called Mike something. He was considered to be like the big rock star. I think now he's like in his 80s, but he used to be some big Filipino rock stars, and he like converted to Judaism.
Huh.
He's come here to Har Zion. He's been in Diaspora Yeshiva, and he like goes. Interesting guy. He's like a quite interesting guy. He hangs around the shul at a Sephardi shul.
Like Nissim Black.
Yeah, exactly. But what was I going to say? But yeah, so that was the Asia. My father used to go my father, a lot of business in it 3 times. He used to go 3 times a year to Thailand. He's in the import business in the kitchen, so he used to go to he used to go to Asia all the time. But yeah. But
Israelis have an affinity for Asia. Right?
Well, yeah, when I was in Manila, I definitely heard several times. Well, I met the Israelis at 2 Chabad houses, one in Manila, one in Cebu, but also like just walking around the Makati area, you'll hear people speaking. I was gonna say it's usually kind of groups of women, and they like to travel together or something, maybe. But
I know I have young adult sons. I have young adult
adult
kids.
sons, yeah.
And Thailand is a big.
Oh, yeah.
They've each been 3 or 4 times to Thailand. And,
yeah. There's this got juice. You know what got is? The drink got. It's like a Yemeni.
Yeah.
Well, one of my friends, one of my sort of close friends, Simcha, when I first got here, like no pun intended, got here. Like he would like chew it in the car, and like I was like, it's like, but no, there's the new places that popped up. There's like 3 got places in the shuk now. Well, the new place, I don't know if there's any over here, and
it's like a stimulant. It's like
yeah. And there's different strengths of it, and they do it different. The one guy. But I was gonna say that basically the one got place. Oh yeah, basically the tip jar says like tips for Thailand or something. Right. Like meaning not obviously not like raising money for Thailand.
Right. For them to take a trip to Thailand.
Tips to Thailand, but so that whatever that. So.
What are the challenges of performing? Like
challenges.
How do you read a room? How do you get people to kind of come with you?
So I forgot to mention that. We recently did 2 gigs and 2 shows in Achlot at the Matnas to Lev Ha'ir. And I was just to say that I noticed during the first one, my friend Mordechai, he keeps a beer like next to him on, I guess because it just relaxes you a little bit. But the challenges, well, basically like, I was going to say one hand, you work with people and you have their personalities. Some people, if you're working with them, because a lot of times we end up doing our own sound, so like, he like used to get really like he used to set up the sound stuff and found it really stressful. Now he's we simplified our sound. We have smaller speakers and this and that. But like he's like if he starts setting up and I'm not like right in there like setting stuff with, he just starts screaming at me. He's like, "What the hell?" He's like, "You see what I'm doing? What the hell are you doing?" So like I try to stand over him and just like move things and just so he doesn't explode at me. But I mean basically like I think that yeah, it's funny. I had a friend. She was doing this whole thing with like improv and all this stuff, and then she quit all of it. And she's like, "I'm going to tour guide school." I actually tried to go to tour guide school. It didn't quite work out for me, but like that's a little bit of a story in itself. But the challenges. I mean, basically, well, I mean, like we got into a more normal rehearsal schedule. We rehearse once or twice a week, so we're kind of going over stuff and trying to. But I mean, yeah, I think that basically, I really don't know what to say. I don't know what to say. But yeah.
Who are your favorite Israeli singers?
Singers. Well, I mean, the thing is that it's hard to actually say, really to say, but like, I mean, there's like one or two, Idan Rachel songs that kind of had a certain kind of were kind of sticking with me. I think it's the one. Was that one that da da hayom da oyodeya da 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 da. That song is a nice song. But other than that, I don't know. It's like basically, yeah, obviously lots of great singers here. I mean, like I think way before I came here, I went on this like little Shabbaton, and like I think it was like some guy I knew who was like he's like the American Jeff Seidel. You probably know Jeff Seidel. He gave me something from like, or somebody gave me something from Sarita Dot, and I was like, oh, that's really interesting. That's like a interesting way of singing or something, But like, yeah.
Have you ever heard Katonti by Yonatan?
Oh yeah, of course. Yeah, of course.
I've just been. For some reason, I've been sort of. Well, he had like a stroke. Yeah, but I've been like playing that song on a loop. I don't know. There's it's beautiful. Just something about it. I did perform with him once in Gonzaga. He and his brother Yonatan when I was doing more guitar stuff like 13 years ago or something. And I did play one time with Aaron Rizal on like playing guitar stuff. Like we were on Israeli TV like probably like 13 years ago or something. Yeah. So they're nice people. And I think what I wanted to say was something else. No, I'm friendly with other singers that are in certain genres like Shivi Keller. I'm friendly with, and he's known by certain communities. And was I going to say like. Yeah, there was one other thing that popped up in my brain. I kind of. Do you teach guitar? And
I started teaching guitar like when I was like 13 or 14. Because I started playing when I was 10. I started teaching when I was 13, 14. I do teach a little bit from time to time. Like it's just been like less for some reason. I don't even really know why, but it's been a lot less. But I had about 10 years ago. I had a Filipino student, and she was like. She was one of the most dedicated students I've ever. She came to me. She like pretty much didn't miss a week for like an entire 12 months. She came and then she told me she's like I tried to ask her something. She said look, I like coming here. I really like listening to you sing. Whatever you teach me a little bit. It was almost like she's like I'm coming here for a little concert or something. But I mean I think she did learn something from me. But but she's just But that was she didn't say that exactly. But it was like so. But yeah.
I think that's about what I have.
Gosh, no, that was definitely a nice variety of questions. I think that was that one other story that was.
I was going to say, is there anything else you want me to ask you?
You want to talk about? Well, yeah. I mean, I think from the aspect of how long. By the way, I'm just curious. How long we've been?
I have no idea. Zev, how long has it been since we started recording?
Oh, he's.
Oh. I have no idea. I think about 40 minutes.
Yeah, because we met here at we met at
10:30.
We started around 10:30. Yeah. Well, I think was there any?
The only thing I would say to you, I don't know if you want me to re-ask any of the questions, but I think that you kind of start to say something.
Oh, sometimes, because
you're a little bit. No,
the reason I think the reason is because I'm trying to find something so I'm like I'm kind of searching around my own trying to like find what I want to talk about. So I'm like jumping to find what I feel internally. But then you gotta
through with
it. Yeah, exactly.
In other words, so I'll ask you a couple more questions.
I mean, there's a lot of things I could say. I could say, ask me about this. Obviously I could list time, but I could say to you, ask me about my time studying in college in New Jersey, or ask me about my time at Manhattan School of Music. I didn't really mention institutions.
I'll tell you the truth. I think
people.
that's a little bit less interesting because it seems to me that your audience is people in Israel, right? Not So you're trying. You're
you know what you could ask me about? It's like it's just when I was also did a little bit performing with this guy, Benjamin Steinberg. He's like a Carl Bach performer. So I played a little bit in his band, and then.
Okay, let me ask it this way. I'll ask it a little differently, but sort of think about a more complete answer. Take a minute.
Yeah, think about
it. You don't have to answer right away because it's all going to be edited. Take a minute. Think about where do you see your career going in the next 5 or 10 years?
Well, okay, so it is to a certain degree. Let's just say in terms of the gig scene, like I've had periods where I have in Israel where I have like a gig every week. So like part of me is thinking, okay, that's an ideal scenario where I just have like regular stuff scheduled because then it's like it produces income and you're engaged. I mean, I feel like I want to contribute, you know, it's like, I mean, obviously I want to earn you know, I want to earn parnasa. I want to be like busy. You know, it's funny because, right, on some level, because of my coming here from outside my jazz background, like part of me is thinking, what else can I contribute? What else? I mean, obviously, on some level, you want to give people what they want. I mean, meaning certain things maybe I can do. People, meaning, right? I suppose most performers in any field want to achieve a certain level of success. Right now, sometimes that success comes in like in dollars or shekels, but sometimes you really feel like you're making an impact, or people are really somehow learning something from you. So I guess I'm trying to explore what it is that I, you know, other things that I could give, because again, obviously I do want to be like employed or to have like work, but I'm just trying to see if there's other things that are, I don't want to say untapped, or things that I can, so I'm just kind of exploring, trying to explore that more, you know, like basically.
How many languages do you sing in?
Do I sing in? Well, basically, I sing in English and Hebrew, and we do a few things where we mix in, like we do this, like that very popular song, "The Prayer," has a little bit in Italian, so we do that. And I like singing like songs like "Bésame Mucho." I have sang a few things in Portuguese, like "The Girl from Ipanema" and things like that. I'd say that's the general. You know, I had got that song "O Devo Shalom Aleinu." It's like a popular one. I had gotten a translation of that like into Arabic, and I started singing. Someone called me from California once and was like, you know, can you send me, or do you have a They somehow maybe saw me singing it in Arabic or something, but I think those are the general languages. I mean, the you know, those are the yeah. Oh, we do, you know, that's very popular among those retiring kids, like that song Kalinka in Russian. So we do that, and you know, sometimes I've probably got most of the words, and other times I just pick one or two Russian words, just, you know. But yeah, I believe those are the languages in general. You know, those are the languages.
Okay. I think,
yeah,
right.
covered. Okay, okay. Yeah, I'm good. Yeah. So we got enough material. You can basically use it, maybe edit, splice a little bit. The stuff that I don't know if you saw this when I did that interview, those 3 ones that I did with Eli Yaffe and my friend Rocky. And I think I sent those. I think I sent those.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay.
I think I did.
And somebody said, but okay, so you got some material, and God willing, it'll okay. So you can, yeah, okay. Very good. Okay, very good. And I can pay you. I can pay you through like. Would you accept through bank transfer or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I can
Send
you
me.
all my-
Yeah.
Sure. No problem.
Okay. And all those. And do you still do stuff for NPR, by the way? Or
No,
just,
but
okay,
I do stuff for I was doing Voice of America for a long time, and I was doing CBS radio.
Oh, CBS.
And CBS, they just closed the whole radio division.
Oh, CBS.
Barry Weiss just closed the whole.
Oh, because she. Yeah, I know she was.
Come in, Zev?
I think
we're done.
Yeah, I know she. Yeah, she used the whole thing with the 90 Seconds to Why. She.
She's very controversial, but she
she-
I was told that she had to cut 100 jobs, and there were 60 jobs in radio.
Why is she controversial?
Oh, because she's seen as like she was trying. Well, first of all, she fired a lot of people, but like from CBS, from 60 Minutes. And like, for example, there was an interview a couple months ago with Netanyahu, and she let him choose who the interviewer was.